Hi, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to your first Bitcoin video lesson. I am your Bitcoin trainer, Evander Smart, founder of Bitcoin Video University. So again, thank you for joining me for this video. What I'm basically going to do is make a very mini webinar. My goal is basically to keep this under 10 minutes. So let's get to the information and talk to you a little bit about what is a Bitcoin. Now, I'm going to call this video one of two things. It's either going to be why you need to care about Bitcoin or what would happen if we created our own money instead of the banks. Let me bring up my video. Hi, I'm Evander. So what would happen if we created our own money instead of leaving that up to the banks and government? Interesting thought, interesting idea. Now, the world is changing with new technologies. Let's look at the world of cars. This is an image of the interior of a Tesla Model S sedan. Now, the Tesla Model S can do a lot of things other cars can't do. It can carry 7 people without using a drop of gas or oil. It can do 0 to 60 runs in 2.5 seconds, and it can run up to 300 miles without recharging. So this is an example of new technologies that can really help improve the world and improve industry. What about phones? Phones are getting smaller and lighter, and their screens are getting clearer, and they're so much faster with their processors, and now you can touch phones to other phones and they can share information. So phones have improved over the last generation or so. What about computers? Computers have wireless mouses, wireless keyboards, retina displays, super fast processors, and you can afford them. You can buy an excellent computer for $1,000, $1,500, and it's more powerful than the world's strongest computers just 10, 20 years ago. So everything seems to be improving with new technologies. Everything seems to be changing except for one thing. What about things like the US dollar? What about any national paper currency? How have they improved over the last 25 years with all this new technology? Now, as a matter of fact, things like the US dollar have gotten worse every single year. This graph shows the purchasing power of a US dollar, and if you took a US dollar to 1915, the year 1915, $1 US, today it would be worth less than 3 cents. Does that show any type of improvement? Is it getting better with all these new technologies? I don't think so. Now let's look at the dollar in a different context. Let's say you had $100 back in the year 1900. And in the year 1900, 100 US dollars could buy a brand new car. Do you think you could buy a new car with 100 US dollars today? Well, let's look at 1950. In 1950, 100 US dollars could buy a brand new motorcycle. Today, could $100 even be a down payment on a new motorcycle? Do you know what you could buy with $100 today? In the US, you could buy a monthly bus pass, or a monthly train pass, or a monthly public transportation. That's how much value the US dollar has lost over the last century, more than a century. Do you think this is progress? Do you want to continue going down this path? That's my question to you. It's now the 21st century. Can we come up with something better than this? What if there were a better way? What if we sat down and we got the greatest coders and developers and all the brightest minds together to come up with a new form of money for the people? Money that you could use online, that anyone could use online. Would you try it out? Now, what if we made something better than what we have today? What if the money didn't lose value every single year, like we showed with the US dollar? What if the money improved with new technologies? What if every year you could program it and make it better, make it smarter, make it safer to use, wherever you are in the world, every single year? Does the US dollar improve every single year with new technologies? What if banks and governments didn't control the production and value of money in closed-door meetings? Behind closed doors, they're deciding how much value your money in your wallet has every single day. What if they didn't control all the value and production of money? What if simple supply and demand, as was originally intended was the creation of the value of money? What if it was just based on supply and demand for this money? What if money was actually a lot like the internet? What if it was a peer-to-peer way to share value, just like the internet? What if it was fully decentralized, just like the internet? Wouldn't you be curious how this money would work? Well, now it has finally happened with the global decentralized digital currency known as Bitcoin. So let me tell you a little bit about Bitcoin. Now, maybe you've heard of Bitcoin. Maybe you haven't heard of Bitcoin. Maybe you've heard it's some type of sneaky online scam. Or maybe you heard it was some type of a great investment. Regardless of what you may have heard, here are some facts you may want to consider about Bitcoin. Is anyone really using Bitcoin? Let's start there. How popular is Bitcoin? Does anybody use it? Well, this is a tweet I received from the head of blockchain, Nicholas Carey. Blockchain is one of the world's largest providers of Bitcoin wallets, where you start a Bitcoin account. And he said in his tweet, as you can see from this graph, it's pretty clear, in November of 2015, there were about 5 million Bitcoin wallets. And just in the following year, their business has doubled. Now there's over 10 million Bitcoin wallets. And this is just one wallet provider. This doesn't take into account Coinbase or localbitcoins.com or all the exchanges out there or all the hardware wallets and so on. So this is proof that there are tens of millions of people around the world using Bitcoin as we speak. Now, if Bitcoin were some type of online scam or something, would some of the world's best known brands and corporations risk their businesses accepting Bitcoin? Would they even be associated with its technology? As you can see, all of these brands, all of these Fortune 500 companies and major players in the online space are using and accepting Bitcoin as we speak. They have lawyers, they have coders, they have developers. They've looked at Bitcoin before accepting it. If there was any problem, don't you think they would have found it? So again, these are votes of confidence. These are proof that there is nothing untoward or illegal about using Bitcoin. These are just the early adopters. Just like 20 years ago, there were companies and corporations that were the first ones to have websites on the internet. These are the first ones to use the digital currency known as Bitcoin. So basically, again, Bitcoin is like the internet of money. It is the same concept, just applied to money instead of information. So that's something that you really should understand. Bitcoin is the internet of money. Now allow me to illustrate the economic power of Bitcoin. In January of 2011, one Bitcoin was worth 30 cents in US dollars, less than $1. 5 years later, that same Bitcoin was worth over 430 US dollars. And then later in that year, December of 2016, that Bitcoin had doubled in value, more than doubled, to over 950 US dollars. That's economic power that you're not going to see anywhere else. So in other words, if you spent the value of one Bitcoin today, if you spent $950 on Bitcoins back in 2011, you could have bought 3,167 Bitcoins. Today, those 3,167 Bitcoins will be worth over 3 million US dollars. Again, that's economic power. That is unprecedented, really, in any type of legal investment. So imagine what that $950 Bitcoin investment will be worth 5 years from today. If it continued to grow at this rate over the last, like it did the last 5 years, one Bitcoin will be worth millions of US dollars again. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not, but it is going to grow faster than gold or silver or any currency-based investment, I can tell you that much. Now, think about your retirement account, your IRA or your mutual fund. Many watching this video don't have anything in their retirement account or have to watch their retirement investment diminish greatly because of the last recession. They had to use their retirement in order to keep the lights on, in order to keep food on the table. Is Bitcoin a retirement investment option for you? This is something that you should think about. So this concludes your first Bitcoin video lesson. I hope this has whet your appetite for Bitcoin. If you would like more free Bitcoin video information, content, downloads, free ebooks, articles, please click the link below or visit my website at bitcoinvideouniversity.com for more free Bitcoin information. I am Evander Smart. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you there. Take care.